pretty scary times. Joining me now to go through all of that, Chief of Staff to Senator Pauline Hanson, James Ashby, and Radio 2GB host of Overnights, Luke Grant. Gents, great to have your company. It's Friday. It's been a pretty hectic week. Yes, there's been no Parliament, plenty on. James, I'll start with you. You heard my comments, I'm sure, at the top of the show. I said it was a good visit to the US by the PM, but when isn't a visit by an Australian PM to the US a good one? The relationship's strong, the alliance is there. More of a concern to me is this visit he's got to China. And given all the domestic issues at home, and they are serious issues, they are really dragging people under, I feel like this government has been in limbo. I mean, it's obsessed with the voice. The PM's been up in the air more than he's been behind his desk. Things are getting harder and harder and harder for anyone much to make ends meet. I reckon it's time he got back to his day job. What would your advice be?
Well, every time I see Anthony Albanese fire up the government jet and head overseas, I always worry for the Australian people because I'm wondering what deals he's signing our country up to. Now, of course, the relationship with America is a good one, let's put it that way, but when he heads to China, that's a completely different story. China, kind of like the friend that, you keep at arm's length because, they're only using you to try and get to your wife. I don't trust China, and neither do most Australians. So the longer we continue this false relationship with them, the more it frustrates Australians. I want China to have a trading relationship very similar to the one that I have with Coles or Woolworths. I walk in, I do my shopping, I walk out, we're done. I don't invite them over for, weekend barbecues or anything like that. That's the relationship we should have with China. They're not our friends. They are long-term, potential enemies. That's why we're spending $364 billion on submarines. We're not doing it to keep boat people out. We're doing it to keep China at bay. So wake up to the Prime Minister, stay home, deal with our domestic issues.
And just echoing those comments there from James, Luke, the Taiwanese foreign minister was basically saying to the West, you guys need to be warned. I mean, China's trying to play you all. It's playing the United States, Europe, Japan. It mentions Australia. Yeah. And Taiwan says we have to keep a very clear eye on whether China is taking advantage of calmer relations with democracies to then put pressure on Taiwan. I think he's absolutely right, the Taiwanese foreign minister.
I think he's right too, and what worries me most, Peter, is that our government isn't going to wake up to that or don't have the backbone to actually take that advice. I fear here perhaps the deal's been done. The Port of Darwin lease, Chung Lei being released, some of our exports being allowed back in, or at least talk of that. I don't know what much will happen out of this 3-day visit by the Prime Minister. I'm a bit like James. I hope not much. I hope they just shake hands and respectfully agree to disagree and move on. But look, you have to take them seriously, even though it is Sleepy Joe and the President of Taiwan you take seriously too. Please be guarded, Albo. Please be on guard.
And look, you are right. I know exactly how this works. You are right to say there's got to be some relationship between us rolling over on the Port of Darwin, because Labor said they were going to get rid of that deal with the Chinese before the election. Now they're getting this warmer relationship. They've rolled over. Chung Lei's come back. That is a good thing. But tariffs and other things look like this is part of a two-step dance. James, Senate estimates. I know that's been a big focus for you this week. Jacinta Nampijinpa-Price was in there today. She really went after the NIAA, the National Indigenous Australians Agency. Yes. This is the agency that released under an FOI the full 26 pages of the Uluru Statement. And the PM got himself into a bit of trouble in question time and suddenly it was reduced to a one-pager. But this is a militant 26-page document. It's got financial compensation, all of that. Have a listen.
What is the NIAA's explanation of the use of the word long in this particular context?
We are aware that the FOI referred to a range of different documents. Those documents and those file names were transferred across directly from the Referendum Council, so they weren't created by NIAA.
The use of the word long, does that imply that the one-page version of the Uluru Statement from the Heart is an abbreviation of a more detailed proposal?
it was called long in that file name from 2017 in that it contained all of that additional material. The Prime Minister and others since have stated that, the Uluru Statement is that one page.
Okay, Ms Braun, have you ever been present where the authors or anyone else directly associated with the drafting of the statement has indicated that there is a longer version of the Uluru Statement from the Heart?
No.
So I'd like to table a list of nearly 20 occasions where Pat Anderson and Megan Davis have publicly referred to the Uluru Statement from the Heart being more than one page.
I reckon that's a game set match, James.
Well, she did well to get what she could out of them. I really wish Scott Morrison never created the NIAA to start with. They're a body which obviously falls under the Prime Minister's office. But look, she did well to get that. Senator Hanson and other senators from all sides of politics don't bother going to estimates so often these days because it's very hard to get answers out of these bureaucrats. I must take my hat off to Jacinta Price as well. She also managed to find out that the Central Land Council had spent $600,000 of funds promoting the yes case as well throughout the whole referendum period. So it was a pretty good day for Jacinta. I must take my hat off to her.
Goodness me, I didn't pick that up. $600,000. Goodness me. Marara, though, Luke, that's still on the table, isn't it? Look, Marara, despite the overwhelming vote of Australians who didn't want the softer entry point of a voice, no to a voice, but we're still going to have treaties.
And it'll happen somehow. I don't trust the government. I don't trust the government to accept the verdict. I just don't. And whether it ends up being something leaked one day or discovered at Senate estimates, I'm not sure. But there'll be something going on, you can rest assured. These are agenda politicians. As I often say on air, you like to think you elect people who might make your life a little bit better. These people got elected to implement their own progressive agenda, and they won't take no for an answer, Peter. I don't trust them.
Hey, James, last one to you. Foreign Affairs have told more than 15,000 Australians, dual nationals, in Lebanon to leave now. Concern, obviously, if the war spreads to the north of Israel. I tell you, I hope our government is security checking everyone coming out of Lebanon, 15,000 of them. Yes, they're, dual nationals, but I want to run the ruler over them. And same goes for any Australians in Gaza. Before they come home, we should know who they are.
I completely agree with you, Peter. The reality is these 15,000, yes, they may have dual citizenship, but they spend the majority of their time in Lebanon. They've got no interest in Australia until war breaks out, and then all of a sudden they want to call themselves Australian. Look, bringing these people back anytime soon is the wrong message to send. I hope we don't offer those repatriation flights, certainly for free. We don't have anywhere to bring them. First of all, try and get a house for them at the best of times. And the same applies, I noticed Peter Dutton's comments this morning on 2GB as well. We've got nowhere to put these people. So if you're thinking about bringing additional refugees from Gaza over here, number one, we're going to have an issue housing them. And secondly, are they the right fit for Australia? I think there's better countries for them to go. Iran, first stop, off you go.
Yeah, and I'll say to some people, I've seen some on this network thinking that, Peter Dutton's playing politics here. He's not. He would have had years' worth of briefings about people in that region. The little I know says it's a tinderbox. Be careful who you bring home. So, when he speaks as a bloke that's been the Home Affairs Minister. Just quickly, Luke, we're, I think, about 12 months out now from the Queensland election. Next year, this time, Anastasia Palaszczuk reckons she will be there facing off against David Christodoulou. Her performance ratings now, it's as bad as Anna Bligh and Campbell Newman. She's at -20. LNP's now got the lead over Labor at 52-48. Well, do you reckon she's going to be there? And if she's not, who'll replace her?
The video and her assurances she's the only one that can lead convinced me that she's under all sorts of pressure from within. There's a bloke, a listener from Cairns, calls the Ghost. He's a cabinet minister. He said, you know what, Anastasia, we're all behind her. Oh, and by the way, we've got heaps of other really good people. I mean, you can't write this stuff. I think she's gone, Peter. I hope she's gone for the people of Queensland. Too much addiction to the red carpet, not enough attention on the good people of Queensland.
We will see. When they say they're behind her, they're generally not.
Yeah.
Luke and James, have a lovely weekend. Catch up with you next week. All right, coming up, big changes proposed for our courts when dealing with sexual assault